Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Journey to Become Wealthy. My name is Kelvin, and today is Saturday. I had to come through and give y'all an update on how last week ended and how things could go moving forward, right? Also, you all know I usually give you a nice update on Sunday night. But before we get into that, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I make videos. All right, y'all. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. We know that last week on Thursday, CPI data came out hot at a 8.2. Inflation went back up just slightly, and the markets initially plummeted Thursday morning, only for them to come back up and end pretty green. Now they ended up actually flat, in my opinion, but they ended up green, nonetheless. And then on Friday, yesterday, things came right back down. We came all the way back down to some of those levels that we've been seeing. So, what does that mean, right? I think that on Thursday, numbers came down entirely too low. A lot of people, investors, was like, "Hey," or the big dogs, the millionaires, like, "Nah, we can't let it come down this hard." So they pushed the markets back up. We saw a nice little pump, but it came back down on yesterday because there was not enough buying power to sustain those levels. We could, in my opinion, we could potentially see some more lows. We already found a new low, so this is our third bottom for the year, right? We found three bottoms. Usually for a recession, that third bottom is when things turn around and go back green. But I'm not so sure that we're there yet, especially with all the research I've been seeing saying that people expect a deeper recession in 2023, and they expect the markets to become even lower. So let's just take a look at the chart, what we saw for this week, right? Let's take a look at it, especially for Friday. So on Friday, we saw the Dow down 1.34%, the S&P 500 down 2.37%, the Nasdaq down 3.08%, and the Russell down 2.66%. Now again, we saw a lot of this come down all this week. We saw some flat days, we saw some green days, which really weren't green. They just bounced back off of their lows. And we saw a really deep red day, but y'all know what I tell you. We always gotta look at the bigger picture, right? So one day we were down 2.37%, but what were we like for the week? Down 1.21%. That's not too crazy bad, especially with one day being 2.37%. We still did not come back down to that new low, right? So let's check out the Dow for the 5 day. We actually up in the Dow, actually up 1.11%. The Nasdaq, let's see what we got. The Nasdaq, we down 2.39%. It looks like the Dow gonna be one of the only ones that's actually staying strong. And the Russell, very flat, 0.87%. Now I had to show you all this, right? Because we know that the month of October, there was no Fed meeting, there was no interest rate hike, right? So they got the CPI numbers for the month of September. And this also anticipated those same numbers will come in hotter for the month of October. So November 2nd, I believe, is when we have our next meeting. So we have 2 more weeks until our next meeting. At this point, people are going to be trying to figure out the markets, right? What are we doing? What's going on? Can it come lower? Especially after Friday. We closed very low. Now, we didn't close in new lows, but we closed very low nonetheless. On top of next week, we have the beginning of some energy. I want to say energy, or is it electronics earnings, but we have some earnings, some big dog earnings. I know for a fact Tesla's on the 19th, and I think that's next week, right? Tesla, the 19th is actually a Wednesday, so we have some of the big dogs coming into play, and I'll post those earnings for y'all. Y'all know I'm posting on my IG or something. I may come in here and show it on Sunday night if I get a hold of it. But yes, we have those earnings. We know Friday we actually had bank earnings. Some of the banks actually reported decent. They didn't report too terrible, but they reported decent. So we didn't see the banks. I saw my banks that I invest in. I saw Wells Fargo and Goldman Sachs. I want to say slightly green. So that's just something to keep in mind. Matter of fact, let's look at it, right? I know my Wells Fargo, I want to say closed green for the day. Look at that, up 1.86%. Let's see what Goldman Sachs did. Goldman Sachs actually closed down 2.31%. And so, hey, I guess it depends on which bank stocks you have. And I actually have both of those. So those are the two that I trade through. So yeah, and then we see the Dow actually not up for the week though, right? Up for the week, down for the day, but up for the week. So that's still, if you're investing in Dow companies, I mean you might be okay actually right now. Some things I got to put on your mind, right? That fear and greed. We saw the VIX was up just a little bit on Friday, but that fear and greed is still in the extreme fear area. So we could potentially, usually when we get to numbers like this, usually we start to creep back up towards that neutral zone. We start to see some green days. As right now, like I said, we got 2 weeks before we see some more news that could potentially throw us off. But earnings could really tech earnings could blow us out the water, right? It could potentially just knock all of us out. One thing I do want to look at too is the stock heat map, right? So I want you all to see on Friday, did anything stay strong? Did anything remain green? There was nothing. JP Morgan. So that was JP Morgan was the other company that I knew was had earnings on Friday, and look, they performed well as well. So we had JP Morgan and Wells Fargo both showing green. The only green companies, well, really big green companies, on Friday. So that's something to pay attention to. Everything else was red. Like I said, next week though we got tech. We have the tech sector doing earnings. So if you're a big investor in tech, hopefully you diversified because you could potentially see some red days. Now, if they have some really great news or some really strong numbers, even though I'm kind of doubting that, especially with the things that have been going on in China, the economy around the world, supply and demand, interest rates, inflation, everything with all of these things coming into play, it is very hard to believe that tech is going to come in here and blow earnings out of the water, especially with lower rates, right? Lowered expectations for this year, for this quarter, I mean. So those are things we got to keep in mind. Monday is really going to be, I guess, the start, so we can tell you all know how I do it, right? We always wait those first 5 minutes, see where things are going, see how they turn around, and then we start making our money. So y'all know, if you see red, puts, we could have made a lot of money in put options on Friday, a lot of money. You could have made a lot of money in call options on Thursday, a lot of money because things had a heavy swing. One of my favorites, again, was Tesla. Y'all know Tesla is my favorite. If I show you the 5-day, look at the crazy swing between these 2 days, right? The 13th and the 14th. We dropped all the way down here, only for us to shoot back up here. $15 up. Come back, $18 down. So that's a $15 move to the upside one day and an $18 move to the downside the next day. And these were straight up moves. I tell you, I love when the market moves in one direction. You see, we had a few heels here, but even if you caught it up to here, you still made a $12 move to the upside. Easy money for you. So hopefully you all made some money. I know I didn't post very often this week because I've been very busy at work, but still, at this point, I'm trying to teach you all and show you all, okay, hey, what are the signals? How do we make money? So I want you all to keep those type of things in mind, right? So that you can do this on your own. You don't need me to tell you, okay, hey. And if you follow my IG, hey, I post put season, be ready for it. Call season, be ready for it. So those are the type of things you got to keep your mind open to. So I came in here to take a look at this chart because I want you all to see this, right? We closed below this. This is where we closed at on Friday. So there's a potential to continue lower. Usually if we hit this, things pretend to come lower. And you see after hours, it was actually still coming down in after hours. I don't know what could happen on Monday. We could trade sideways. In this range. I mean, between this, I'm going to say between this 357.63 and the 365.10 line. We could trade sideways for a day or two, or we could potentially just blow through, depending on earnings. Because those are the things I believe are going to push the market up or down next week. Some things we are looking for. If it comes back above this, I want to say 367. Let me click on it. If it comes back above this, 360.90? 360.91. If it comes back above that, we could potentially see some green days. So that's going to be one of our lines. If it comes above that, we see some green days. Below that, I have not even charted that myself because, again, this is a new low. And we know on the low side, 348 is our low. Is our new low for the year. 348.11. And then also, if you look at this, you see it here. Looking at our MACD, we saw heavy strength to the downside, and at this point we're trading sideways. There's capitulation, so that means things are just trading sideways, no big ups or downs. We're gonna be looking for a potential big up or down to give us a signal for, hey, can we expect the market to continue going back up, or is it just gonna continue going down as it has been? So that's what I got for you all, right? So I hope y'all take the time to enjoy the weekend. Make sure you took some notes. Make sure you get ready for Monday. I'm going to come back through here on Sunday. Of course, we know we got to do our thing. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get ready for the week ahead. We got to prepare our mental. So hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends and family. And I thank you guys, and I'll see y'all later.